right, welcome to the second day of graphing inequalities. Today we're focusing on standard form. Now, if we look at our steps, your first step when you're given a standard form inequality, just like equations, you need to turn it into slope-intercept form. From there, plot your y-intercept, which is 0, comma b. Identify your slope, rise over run. Draw a line through your points. Again, dotted line if it's less than or greater than, solid line if it's greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And then we're going to shade above or below the line. If we look at our first example, we have 3x plus y is less than negative 2. To turn it into standard form, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. I now have y is less than negative 3x minus 2. I'm now in slope-intercept form. My m is negative 3, and my b is negative 2. That makes my starting point 0, negative 2. So I'm going to plot negative 2 on the y-axis. My rise, well, if I have negative 3, I'm going to turn it into a fraction. So I have a rise of negative 3, which means I'm going down, and I have a run of positive 1. So I'm going to the right. My other option is to have a positive 3 and go up, and a negative 1 to go left. So if I go down 3 to the right 1, down 3 to the right 1, I'm also going to go up 3 to the left 1, up 3 to the left 1, up 3 to the left 1. Now, if I look at my sign, it is less than, so that tells me it is a dashed line going through my points. Now, to find where we are shading, you have the test point of 0, 0, or we can look at our y and our b. If I have y is less than my points, if I start at my y-intercept, if it is less than my y-intercept, that means it goes below the line. So that's going to be my solution. Now, if you prefer to use the test point of 0, 0, if I plug 0 back into standard form, I have 3 times 0 plus 0 is less than negative 2. Well, 0 is less than negative 2. That's not true. That is false. So we are not going to shade where 0, 0 is. If I look, 0, 0 is not shaded. If we look at our second example, again, we need to turn it into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to start by subtracting 4x on both sides. I now have negative y is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 1. Well, y is not by itself. Technically, I have a coefficient of negative 1. So I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. When I do this, this means my sign has to flip. So y is now greater than or equal to 4x minus 1. That makes my starting point 0, negative 1. My rise is 4 over 1, so I'm going to go up 4 to the right 4. Or my second option is I'm going to go down 4 and to the left 1, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So if I plot 0, negative 1, I'm going to go up 4 to the right 1, up 4 to the right 1. Then I'm going to go down 4 to the left 1. Now, if I look at my sign, because it is greater than or equal to, it is a solid line. And from here, since y is greater than my equation, I'm going to start at my y-intercept and go up. That means this entire part of my graph is my inequality. And again, if we use the test point 0, 0, 4 times 0 minus 0 is less than or equal to 1. Well, 0 is less than or equal to 1. That is true. And if we look, 0, 0 is shaded. So that works. You can choose to use the test point. You can choose to use the little trick based on the sign. The only thing is, if you're going to use the trick, it must be in slope-intercept form. It cannot be in standard form. Our third example, y is greater than x. Well, this tells me my b is 0, so my starting point is 0, 0. Well, I have a slope of 1 over 1. So that means I can go down 1 to the right 1, down 1, down 1 to the left 1, to the left, and I can go to the right and up, Now if I look at my sign, it should be a dashed line. Now, in this case, 0, 0 is a point, so we're going to use a test point of -1. Or we can say y is greater than 0. Well, if I'm at 0 and I need to go greater, it is everything above. In this case, if I use my test point of -1, well, y is 1 is greater than -1. That tells me this is false. It tells me it's true. 1 is bigger than -1, so -1, +1, which is right there, should be shaded in. Now, our last one, we're going to turn it into slope-intercept form. Subtract 2x on both sides. I'm now left with -y is greater than or equal to -2x plus 4. Y has a -1 in front of it, so I'm going to divide everything by -1, and I'm also going to switch my sign, so y is less than or equal to 2x minus 4. Well, that tells me I'm going to start at 0, -4. My slope, a +2/1, tells me to either go up 2 to the right 1 or down 2 to the left 1. So go up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, and continue. I can go down 2 to the left 1. If I look at my sign, it is less than or equal to, so I'm going to draw a solid line. Now from here we can use our trick and we can say y is less than our y-intercept, so it needs to be everything underneath it. Again though, if you prefer a test point, and I've run out of room, so I'm going to use 0, 0 up here. If I say 2 times 0 minus 0 is greater than or equal to 4, well 0 is greater than or equal to 4? That is false. So that means 0, 0 cannot be shaded, and I need to shade the other side of the line. At this point, these are the 4 examples we're going to do. Come to class tomorrow with any questions and make sure your practice problems are done within PlayPosit. Hopefully you've been doing them as you've been going along. I look forward to seeing you then.